you started diving into your personal finances, what were some of the tips or the steps that you took that eventually influenced your business that you founded?
Yeah, so I think that the biggest step, for myself, but then for anybody, wanting to address their finances, whether it be, with us, with somebody else, by yourself, is really just confronting it for the first time. And that sounds so simple, but it's the hardest part of the process. I mean, just opening all of your accounts, taking out a piece of paper, writing down the balances of your accounts, writing down the details of your debt, it's not fun, I'm not going to pretend that it is, but I cannot even begin to express just how impactful it is. And our clients are able to see such fast transformation and results. And obviously that's amazing, but I feel like I can take credit for, very little of that. So much of it is just them choosing to commit to this, choosing to say, okay, today is the day that I am opening my eyes. I am, taking off the blinders, and I am choosing to put my energy towards this. And then everything else really just falls into place miraculously quickly once you just choose to, that you are looking at it now.
Talking to you, I also realized that money is very transactional, but you actually brought in the emotional component in your business, and understanding that emotional component that a person actually is going through, as transactional as money can be, and as black and white sometimes it can be, right? Assets, liability, whatever. But you're bringing in the emotional aspect to it, which I think is so underestimated and also overlooked by so many people, whether you're, wealth financial planner or somebody, and it can be intimidating, just like how law can be intimidating. I think anything about money can be intimidating too.
For sure. And especially because all of the, information that we're usually and advice that we're usually given is so shame-based, even just the traditional, skip your latte and, that's how you buy a house or whatever. I myself am a good example of that, because when I was, deep into my Lyme treatment, I could barely walk. I mean, I was sleeping 14 hours a day, and my one activity every day was walking a block to go get a coffee. So that was not just, $3 wasted. That was my one, human interaction. That was my one, step outside the house. That was much more than, a latte to me. And so much of the advice just takes away the whole context of your life and just gives, blanket, this is bad, this is good.
So if I was to come to you as a client and you were to say to me, hey, this is what you do to align your priorities and your financial health with your personal values, how would you do that? What are some of the tips that you would be giving me to do that?
Well, we start all of our clients with tracking their spending manually, which is nobody's favorite part of the experience, but it's really important because it teaches you to start to observe in the moment how you're reacting to a purchase. Is it something that you like spending on? Does it make you happy, or do you feel a little regretful or mournful or anxious afterwards? Does what through your life, through your spending, through your purchases sort of uplifts you, and what makes you feel like it's, not aligned with the version of yourself that you want to be. So starting there is always our best tip.
Awesome. And then what would be some other tips that you would be giving to, complete that process?
Yeah. So then we look at, where your spending is in each category, and we break it down into your financial priorities. So things like paying off debt, building up savings, investing, things that are of financial import to you in your future. Then we're looking at your fixed costs, which are hard to change on a day-to-day basis. They're, the big decisions in life, like where you live, what kind of car you drive, all those types of things that you have points where you can change those, but not day to day. Then we're looking at your sort of lifestyle decisions. And this is where you can make the most room for change because, for example, all of us have to eat, but not everybody has to do like I do and buy, $12 honey at the farmer's market. That is very much like a lifestyle decision of mine, and accommodations have to come from other places. But I'm happy to make that happen if it means I can spend $100 at the farmer's market every week,
Yeah. Yeah.
So the most that you like really just get it out on paper, then you can start to play with, what does spending more or less in this area change? If I want to max out my 401k, which is great, where do changes need to come from in order to make that, number one priority happen?
Oh my gosh, I love that. So we're looking at what essentially brings us joy when we're spending money and what doesn't bring us joy when we're spending money. And then our fixed costs, the hard costs that you just have to pay regardless. And then the expenses that we like, liabilities or debts that we need to pay off also. And then our lifestyle choices. I love that. So if we just kind of focus on those four things and then assess what is needed, what's not needed, and where we can kind of, again, take that money away and then put it somewhere else and later maybe have enough. So I like how the focus though starts with what are the expenses that bring you joy? What are the things that align with your priorities or the values that you have or just your happiness? So when you have clients that are coming to you and they're struggling though to figure this out, how do you help them figure that out? How do you help them give them clarity?
Yeah, it's really just through conversation. There's no like magic question or, just worksheet that I have everybody fill out and then we say, oh, we've got the answers to your life. It usually sort of starts from the other side of like, what's keeping you up at night? Why have you come to us? What is so stressful in your finances in your life that is causing you to want to, invest in turning it all around? And for a lot of people that comes back to debt or perhaps having like low balances in savings, which can be very stressful. A lot of us live paycheck to paycheck despite having, 6-figure incomes and have nothing in savings, just living like on an endless paycheck to paycheck cycle, and so for a lot of people, that's where we want to start is figuring out, what needs to change in order to make you sleep better at night. And there's no right or wrong answer here. I could have two clients with identical on paper financial situations, and perhaps one is incredibly troubled by their credit card debt and wants to get that paid off. Perhaps the other one is incredibly troubled by having no money in savings and sees the credit card debt as, a second level problem, but not the number one problem. And so we tackle with, I don't come in with a prescribed, idea of, okay, this is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third step. It's really about figuring out what will make each individual person feel supported by their money.
That's awesome. And then so for the person that is like, just loves to spend money, they love to shop, they love to do all of that. Like, what would you say to them and how do you help them, kind of reel them back in a little bit?
So I would separate that into like two pretty different categories of people. Okay. Like some people just like love to spend, love nice stuff, all of that. I consider myself in that category. And second is people with, more deep-rooted like sort of addictions to shopping and things like that, which is a different type of situation. It's easier to reel in the person that just loves nice stuff because, it's like for myself, I have a rule that I have to, before I buy something, I have to be like thinking about it for a week before I'm allowed to buy it. And that reins in impulse shopping and, all that. And then I often make sure with clients that we have all of your financial priorities covered first, so as long as you're putting the amount that you've dedicated to investing or debt payoff or whatever it may be, as long as that's going out first, I don't really care what happens with the rest of the money. If you've said, you have $2,000 a month or something for shopping, eating out, groceries, whatever, it doesn't really matter if 1 month that's all shopping and the next month that's booking a couple trips and the next month that's like a lifetime supply of honey at the farmer's market. It doesn't really matter as long as your like foundations and bases are like all covered.
Yeah, I see that. I like to shop a lot also. And and I especially think with Amazon and the advent of, just online shopping and then people holding your credit card. One thing I do is with Amazon, you have to put a credit card in there. But a lot of these other websites, you don't have to have a credit card in the system.
Yeah.
And so I try to like stay away from that, because then that makes me have to like pause and then also think about it. And then, the extra mile of getting that credit card to pay.
Yeah, totally. And I think different people can utilize there's so many different tips like that. There's, not having your credit card info saved. There's having like a just no online shopping rule for yourself. There's a blocking the Instagram ads that are really tempting, like all sorts of things that we can do. But I think it really comes back to knowing and developing trust in yourself and knowing what will help you achieve your goals. Mm-hmm. For me at times, because I've tried all of the, tricks and stuff just to get a feel for what works, for different people and stuff. And for me, the taking the credit card out of my phone or out of my computer does nothing. It just causes like an annoyance for me. Mm-hmm. But I have cultivated already the ability to be like very intentional about what I'm choosing to purchase. So by the time I get to the purchase page, I'm already going to buy it. It's already something that I've, spent time considering. Is this, do I have the money? Is this where I want my money to be going? Is this something I really want? Do I have anything else like this already? Mm-hmm. And so then by the time, I get to the purchase page, the credit card is just, the last step, but the decision's already been made.
Yeah. Okay. I like that you said that, because I like how you said cultivate the intentionality of purchasing. And so how do you do that with your clients? When they walk in through your doors, how do you help them develop that intentionality, whether it's spending or just the intentionality of having a financial wellness? How do you your clients?
Yeah. So unfortunately, there's no like one size fits all, solution or game plan here, because for some people it's already sort of innate and we just need to sort of turn the faucet on for like starting to listen to these things. Some people come to me already having clear understanding of what they value, either, sort of in a political sort of cultural sense or in a just personal, like, shoes are important to me, but purses aren't, or whatever. Some people already have that sense. And then some people, a lot of us are just so used to the noise of all of the shopping and marketing and all of that you have to build it from scratch. So we start with just talking and observing, and we go through, last week's spending and, go through like line by line sometimes, and ask like, okay, what did you buy at Lululemon? Like, okay, did
Target?
Yeah. And just really like figuring out what your triggers are. With one client, we realized recently, well, she realized, I'm just the sounding board, that Saturday mornings were her shopping trigger. And it was because working from home now, on Saturday mornings, she was just so eager to leave the house and go somewhere, but there weren't that many places to go. And, so it turned into like all of her just sort of anxious energy about her career and all of that somehow got channeled into Saturday morning shopping. And
wow. That's really great, actually, to kind of sit and think about the triggers and also just kind of really think about the different buckets that you have in your business and where the money needs to go first. So I love that. Well, I'm so happy to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for being here, sharing your knowledge with us. Yeah. And of course, your just calmness. I love it.
Oh.
And if someone wanted to reach out to you, whoever's listening, how do they contact you and connect with you?
Yeah. So our website is beyondmoney.co. So beyondmoney.co. And there's like a little form submission if you want to reach out. My email address is on there. And you can also download some tips that we have for you for your boost in your bank account and then jump on our newsletter.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And
thank you.
Our conversation.
Me too. It was such a pleasure. And I hope all of you listening have a good day.